Okay, son. This is the 45 ACP round. I'm going to show you how to load it for our particular gun, which is a Smith & Wesson M&P 45. I'm going to be loading this with 185 grain jacketed hollow points from Hornady, using Winchester primers, unique powder, and 6.5 grams of the unique powder. This is a load that this particular gun likes. I'm going to be using our equipment to do this, and anybody out there watching, this is for our guns. This is I don't recommend this load for anybody else. It's something that you need to develop on your own, but this is for my equipment with my dies set the way they are. And I recommend you getting a book with loading data in it and starting out that way. The load that I'm doing here is not a maximum charge by any means, but it's a good, powerful defensive load. It'll actually get this 185 grain bullet up to around 930 feet per second. Alright, Timothy, the things that you're going to need on this right here, let me just go ahead and tell you one thing that's unique about a 45 ACP round. ACP stands for Auto Colt Pistol. You know how we're always walking around picking up brass at the range and reloading it and stuff for our own guns? 45 ACP is a very unique creature right here. I'm going to show you two cases right here. The difference is the one on top is a Winchester Super Clean, which is a very popular load today. You buy it at Walmart. People that don't reload usually buy these at Walmart. It's just a 230 grain ball ammo. Very clean. You'll see that the case on the inside is really clean. Very little carbon buildup in it. But it uses small pistol primers. And most standard 45 ACPs use a large pistol primer, okay? And don't mix them up when you're trying to reload, because you'll wind up having to switch primers, and it gets to be a headache right there when you mix them up. I do have some of the small pistol primer cases, obviously, as you can see. I've got a couple hundred of them, and I do reload them, but I keep them totally at the other end of the building from these right here. I keep them totally separate right here. We're going to be using the standard ACP round, which is the one with the large primers in them. So you'll see this one right here has a large pistol primer in it. So what we're going to do, we're going to set our system up right here. We're going to choose the large pistol priming tool. You raise the ram up a little bit on this system here. You slide it all the way down in there, because I generally drop this thing 2 or 3 times. You'll need a shell holder. On this die set, it's number 2. This one right here reload 30-06s. It'll reload 308s, 243s, 260 Remingtons, 270 Winchesters, 280 Remingtons, any case based on that right there. And it doesn't matter which pistol priming tool you use in it. It really doesn't. It's just that if you have the different cases, you'll have to keep switching this out. And if you're shooting in a match, it'd make a difference due to the power of the primers, because the primers generally produce 10% or more of the power in a case when it's fired. Alright, next step we'll need to do, we're going to be using this in a progressive style. This is your auto index tool, and basically there's a slot right behind the ram that you put the sort of like a drill bit right here. Put that down in there, let it bottom out. You'll take our dies here. These dies right here are already preset for this 180 grain bullet. I've already gone through the process of checking the bullet depth and everything in the chamber of my pistol, where the bullet touches the lands and grooves of my barrel already, so I've already got that set. I've already set this right here to check, make sure each round is going to be the same, and it's shorter than the maximum length, which is 1.275 inches. This particular load that my pistol likes is 2.25, so it's a little shorter, but I think this is called the ogive of the bullet right here. That part touches my lands and grooves once the bullet is chambered. So we're going to go through here and load these. You'll need primers, bullets, powder, a way of measuring the powder. I'm using a 0.7 cc scoop or dipper, and I've already checked the loads using this right here on a Hornady digital scale. On the 0.7 cc of this particular powder, now different powders are all different here, and they weigh more than others. You'll be surprised how much it varies. But this is a flake powder, and what you'll do, you'll scoop it up, you'll sort of press it in, and you'll wipe the top off where it's level. And when it looks just like that, that's 6.5 grains. Not a lot of powder, but it goes a long way. This unique powder that I'm using here goes a long way on this 45 ACP round. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll take an empty case. It's been fired. We're going to set it in the round. I'll go ahead and touch bases, and then we'll grab a primer right here, and I'll go ahead and touch bases with each one of these dies. The first die is going into, this is the sizing and decapping die right here. All it does is squeeze the case together and knocks the primer out. So we'll go all the way up with it, and we'll bring it all the way down. In the process of it going all the way down, this had already ejected the primer, and now it just inserted a new primer. I'll pull it up and show you. Right there, it's got a brand new primer in it. I'm going to put it back on the round. All right, and it's going to come up into the next die in order here. This die right here is the neck flare die. You just run it all the way up through there. And this one's unique too. It has a place, once it's all the way up in there, primed and all the way up in there, you can dump your powder in here. It's got a place where you can put a powder scoop in. I mean a powder funnel right here. And let me turn it up a little bit. And basically you take your powder you just measured out, and you'll dump it in there. This is a flake type powder, and so this is plastic, and it does build up a little static electricity when it's dry or cold. It's fairly humid now, so powder flows really good when it's humid, but it builds up static electricity when it's cold and dry, and you'll have to tap it, make sure it goes in all the way in there. Now when you come down on the round to bring it down, you'll feel that it catches right there. It's a little tube right inside here that's inside the neck of the case. When it breaks loose, it actually causes it to vibrate, and it makes the powder, any powder left in there, drop down. And then once you come all the way down, it rotates the turret into place to the third die. This is the bullet depth guide. It's really not a seating die, it just pushes the bullet down to the proper depth. This is a 4 position die, and when it's in this place right here, you can actually bend over, you can see the powder. Now the powder, I just filled up this case, it only comes up to about right there. You got to be careful with pistol primers, powder cartridges, because you can double charge these right here, and you don't want to do that. You can actually, if you put 12 grains of that powder in there, you're going to blow your gun up. What's going to happen? Alright, it's an extremely fast burning powder. So now that it's down and the turrets come over here, you'll want to take your bullet, you'll set in there. You'll notice that it's easy to set in there because this die over here that we put the powder in, it flared the neck out. You need to do that because it's a straight case, and it's hard to squeeze a bullet down a straight case. Now you just bring it all the way up, And all it does is push the bullet down into the case. It does not squeeze it or anything. This particular die doesn't. It just sort of straightens the case out and puts it in the correct length right there, and it rotates to the 4th die. This is the factory crimp die right here. And what you do, you just bring it back up one more time, and you'll feel when you bottom out, it squeezes the case around that bullet. And so you have a loaded round ready to go. A really neat little round. This part of the bullet here touches my lands and grooves, not tight, it just sits in there, and when this case fires, it pushes the bullet straight into the lands and grooves. It doesn't wobble or torque or do anything like that. And so there you go. I'm going to go quickly through another round. First thing we do, we find us a primer, put in the primer tool, get an empty case that's been fired, lift it up, run it into the sizing decapping die. It just knocked the primer out, and when it comes down, I'm going to be putting a brand new primer in it. It went in. You're going to bring it back up into the neck flare die, and you're going to charge the case here at this point. You're going to take your powder in this 0.7 cc dipper. You're going to push it in, and you're going to flatten it out with your finger. It looks just like that. Don't have it a hump in there or anything. Make sure each one of these loads are consistent. And this is unique powder, and this is 6.5 grains of powder. You'll dump your powder in there. You go ahead and grab a bullet. When you're reaching over here, you'll bring your round down. It rotates the turret right here to the bullet seating die. You round that bullet in there. You come back down. It rotates it around one more time to the crimp die. Boom. Have another loaded round. That's a neat little bullet right there. Very powerful joker right there. That thing, I picked these things up off the ground after they've been fired up against a steel plate. That's probably about a 75 caliber too, whenever you pick it up. So it does the job. Alright, son, be safe, reloading. Do not smoke around this stuff. No, you don't smoke, but that's just a warning I'm giving you. Wear safety goggles. You are working with primers. I've never had one blow up on me or anything. The potential is there. Use good quality components. These are good jacketed bullets right there. You know, I cast my own bullets too. Here's some, matter of fact, some lead right here I have that I make my own bullets with. Make sure you keep your tools clean. When you're done, put them up. This is made out of metal. It will rust. These things will rust. So I've got a box just for everything. So be safe, be consistent, don't invent loads. Always consult the loading manual right here. People have done this before us, and so make sure you do this and have fun and be safe. Teach your kids how to do all this stuff, and you'll be shooting for a long time right there, when most folks won't be able to, because you know, there's going to be a time where it looks like there's not going to be any guns out there available for purchase in the future. But anyhow, you have them, and you have fun, son. Thank you. Bye.